Today's video is about probably one of the most common misconceptions about extreme hunger. I get a lot of messages and comments, questions relating to extreme hunger, and I cannot tell you how many times I have had questions that highlight to me that this misconception is alive and kicking. What is it you're thinking? Well, the most common misconception around extreme hunger is that extreme hunger is a largely physical sensation. It's not. In the vast majority of cases, extreme hunger is manifested mentally. I'll say it again. In the vast majority of cases, extreme hunger is something that manifests mentally. It presents in the form of mental hunger. Now, I'm not saying that extreme hunger can't or doesn't present physically. It absolutely does. It can absolutely present as intense physical hunger. However, what I'm saying is that a lot of people seem to think that if they haven't got intense physical hunger, then they haven't got extreme hunger. And that just simply isn't true. For the vast majority of people, myself very much included, extreme hunger is manifested, dominated by mental hunger signals. So, for example, a very common scenario that I would experience would be someone saying, I don't have extreme hunger. I don't have that. That's not something that I have. How do I navigate recovery without it? What does that mean? Etc., etc., etc. And I might say, okay, just so I can be clear, is this both mentally and physically? And they might say, sorry, what do you mean by that? And I would say, well, do you mean that you don't have extreme hunger presenting either mentally through mental hunger or physically through physical hunger? And they might say, oh, I don't know. I'd say, well, do you think about food? And then they might say, all the time, literally all the time, 24/7. I'm just never not thinking about food in some way or another. And then I would say, that's extreme hunger. And then they might think or say, what? Oh. You see where I'm going with this? It is an incredibly common misconception that extreme hunger presents itself in physical grumbling tummy and that physical sensation. It's a very common idea that that is what extreme hunger is, and it's not. Very, 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 very often, extreme hunger presents itself as constant thinking about food. I did a video recently exploring a variety of different ways, quite a few, that mental hunger and that hunger presented for me. I'll link it here. But mental hunger, which generally falls into two categories, it's either thinking about food or thinking about things that provide permission to eat food or give permission to eat food. That is the dominant way in which extreme hunger presents. So that includes thinking about food, thinking about food, thinking about what you might have, what you would have, what you'd like, what you wouldn't like, what you'd get if you went to this place, what you'd get if you went to that place, thinking about what you would cook for other people, just thinking about everything relating to food. And it can also include, like I say, thinking about things related to the permission to eat. That includes recovery content, it includes exercise and movement, and it also includes things like spending a lot of time researching and reading about extreme hunger. Like, if you are somebody who finds yourself gravitating constantly towards extreme hunger related content, it may be because you are going through extreme hunger and you're wanting support. Okay, that's fine. But if you're watching this kind of content, extreme hunger related content, through the lens of I don't have that. Why don't I have that? Is that something, if I had that, oh, if only I had that, I could. That is an example of mental hunger that is related to seeking permission. It's almost like it's that if I had extreme hunger, I could eat without restriction. If I had extreme hunger, I could eat whatever I want. If I had extreme hunger, I'd have that and that and that. That is mental hunger. That is extreme hunger. Hear me. That is extreme hunger. So thinking about food all of the time, thinking about food all of the time, thinking about recovery content all of the time, making plans about recovery, doing this, making this, thinking about movement and movement related plans a lot of the time, thinking and searching and researching a lot about extreme hunger. These are all hunger signals, and if they are dominating, then that is extreme hunger. I really want to make this message very, very clear, because I know personally when I was in recovery and when I learned about mental hunger, I was like, oh, because I thought that when people spoke about this intense hunger, I just thought they meant physical symptoms, and I didn't have that. I didn't have that at all. But when I realized that mental hunger was valid, and that intense levels, elevated levels, high levels of mental hunger count as extreme hunger, I was suddenly like, oh, I think I have extreme hunger. And it is something that I, as I say, receive all sorts of messages and questions, and it's something that comes up in coaching sessions a lot, and I think it's such an important message to take away from this. So, to summarise, mental hunger is valid, and extreme hunger most commonly manifests mentally. Absolutely, it can manifest through physical symptoms. It can manifest through both. But the vast majority of people, the vast majority of the time, experience extreme hunger, or post-starvation hyperphagia, if you want the scientific term. They experience it in the form of mental hunger, which goes into two categories. It goes into thinking about food and thinking about things that provide permission to eat food, which includes recovery, includes exercise, and it includes things like seeking out information about extreme hunger and thinking, oh, if I had extreme hunger, then it would be like this. That counts. So I hope that this video has helped to debunk this misconception somewhat. And I just want you to know, one, if you're watching this because you are going through extreme hunger at the minute, I want you to know you're doing the right thing. This is not forever. This is part of a healing process. You can trust your body. You can trust your body. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are not a unicorn. Your body is hitting boost mode on healing. You can trust it. And if you are viewing this through that lens of, I wish I had extreme hunger and then I could do it, I want you to be really honest with yourself and take the information from this video and do something with it. Check in. Be really honest with yourself. Because this is not just a talking space. You know, you and me here now, we're not here just to talk and think and theorize. This is a conversation which leads to action. It leads to doing. So go